now it is time that we shall go and end this episode off with the grand finale. And for this finale, we're going to have a little bit of a throwback of something that me and Logan have collaborated on with Animation Look Back, Walt Disney Animation Studios Plus. Now, what is debatably one of, if not the most memorable the little cartoons that you have helped provided, like one of the best and one of the most memorable is easily the one about Fantasia 2000, the one discussing about the scrapped idea of the Disney princesses to the music of Pomp and Circumstances, where they all simultaneously get married and they all end up having a child. You remember that one, Logan?
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of my best highlights in general from my end when it comes to like these anime segments, because really quick before we get to the story. So normally how I do these segments, it's like, Matt, you will send me an email with the list of like segments that you want potentially be animated for each part of the animation look back. And earlier when I first started, I do my best to like animate all the segments that you send me. But as time progressed and the more ambitious I get with these segments, I try to reduce them down to just like 2 of the 4 you suggested to me, because I want to make sure I do my best to like make sure these animation segments like pop out. And I figure like some of the suggestions you send me would take more time to animate. And by the time we get to the Fantasia 2000 moment or part, along with Dinosaur and Emperor to the Groove, when you send me that info about the potential like segment for Fantasia 2000 with the princesses, I was like, okay, I am game on this. This sounds so insane that I had to do something with it. And I delivered something insane by execution of it. And I feel like it's probably one of my best like segments I've done for your animation look back. And it's definitely like, because when you send me that info about what it could have been, that just sounds like the most ridiculous, insane things that I've heard from Disney. That is like, okay, I have to do something with it. And it just sounds like something wacky that I had to do something crazy with it. And it turned out, and I'm glad everybody loved that segment. It's definitely like one of the highlights of animation look back.
Yeah, and not to mention that you posted that individual clip onto TikTok, and that went viral.
Basically, yeah. The segment that has like Aurora and Prince Philip like about to make some magic of their own. And I overlay with like the instrumental for one of Melody Martinez's songs, and that blew up unexpectedly. And people are definitely, some find it funny, others didn't know the context of that scene. But to be fair, I was pretty vague of it. They're saying like Disneyland after hours.
Yeah, that definitely is out of context. But But I will say, I remember I learned about that fact when I was going through the audiobook of Disney War. And it's a very fascinating book, and I highly recommend you go and read it, or again, listen to the audiobook. And when they went into that part, like that was one of the things that really stood out. It's like Michael Eisner wanted what? It was just wild.
Like I'm pretty good at knowing like Walt Disney Animation Studios history, but that just like threw under my radar. Like that's when I first heard about it. That's like the first time I was aware of it when you sent me that info. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, like I even had to double check on Disney World to be sure. Like, is it true? That's what those are what the words said. But then recently, however, there was a discovery, and honestly, it was a true game changer. Where one of the craziest behind the scenes Disney stories turned out to indeed be real. And right over here, this is indeed the animatic of that lost segment where, okay, hold on a sec. Now there's just a commercial that they just need to put out. Yes, no, we're not here to see Amy Schumer. We're here to see this. Yes. Over here, this is indeed that segment that we've been talking about. I'm not putting up the music because, well, copyright reasons. But as you could see here, this is indeed all the Disney princesses in that segment for Pomp and Circumstances for originally Fantasia 2000. Now, the big thing to go and mention, how did this come to be? This is actually brought to us by a group by the name of Lost Media Busters. And this is actually discovered specifically by a user by the name of SoundGuyMatt. Or sometimes he would go around by the name of Sounds Like Matt. And this is specifically taken from something that he found that is much bigger. In the Internet Archives, they actually found something that is much larger, which is the 1992 work print of what was called Fantasia 2. So if you guys know the history of Fantasia 2000, there was like this long history of Fantasia 2000. Like, I think throughout the 90s, they wanted to go and create this thing. And yeah, like there's even a work print that goes as far back as 1992. And in here, you'll find a lot of the segments that they have done, including this one over here. There have been a few that are also deleted that weren't used in Fantasia 2000 ultimately, but this one really stood out. And what is very interesting with this is that not only did it turn out to be true, not only did we see all the Disney princesses together, and it's like the same story of how like we see all the princesses, they're having a ceremony where they're married to their respective princes, but then at the end, they all end up having a child. But on top of that, this was a mega crossover. This had like a whole bunch of Disney characters all coming together for this ceremony. So this was actually something that was in the leagues of, or that was originally planned to be something that was similar to what we have today with Once Upon a Studio, where it's just like a whole bunch of Disney characters coming together for this big narrative, like for this entire segment. So it wasn't just the Disney princesses, but it was everyone coming together. And also, I just want to go and quickly add that when it comes to the princesses having a baby, it's not like what we have discussed in Animation Look Back. It's not like suddenly all the princesses get pregnant. At the most, they only get metaphorically pregnant because all the babies are delivered by storks. And
I gotta say, that is less worse. That is way less worse than I thought it was going to be. Like, thank God it's just storks.
Yeah, that is true. And you may have noticed Donald Duck is also featured. And the crazy thing is that Donald actually has a prominent side plot where he is supposed to be delivering the crowns for the babies, but then at times, like, he'll often get King Stefan just telling him, like, no, not yet, and often, like, he'll have some other obstacles, like, in the way. Like, there's even at one point, Donald fights against TikTok the crocodile to not be eaten and stuff like that. So from there is that side plot where you got the cartoon aspect where Donald is just going around trying to make sure he could get the job done, which, of course, ultimately he does. But it is funny that the segment would always have Donald Duck as a very prominent character. So, Logan, I want to know your thoughts. After watching this whole thing, how do you feel about it?
A lot is going through my mind right now because honestly, okay, so when you sent me the link to that video, I was just like doing my normal thing. Like, and I was working on my Amazement Park project, just working on it. Then I got your notification. And as soon as I opened it up, I saw the link you sent me. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, wait. What? This is actually legit. Okay. So, funny thing about it, because my whole thought process was, I thought it was just an idea that Michael Eisner had. Like, it was just an idea he had in his brain. He mentioned it to his storyboard team, whatnot, and they rejected it on the spot. I did not realize they went the effort to actually storyboard this thing. Like, that took me by surprise. I didn't realize they went to that level of actually hand-drawn the whole, well, not hand-drawn, but like draw out the storyboard, like how everything's going to be executed. That blew my mind. I didn't realize, I thought it was just going to be like the princesses alone, but I didn't realize that like all their Disney characters are going to be involved. Like, yeah, because you saw like the Robin Hood characters, the Baloo from the Jungle Book, Pinocchio, Alice, the Wendy and Michael John Song of the South characters. That honestly like surprised me the most. Like this is just like a mega crossover of all these characters at the time. Yeah, it's just like it just blew my mind on so many levels. And as soon as you hold on, Matt, I gotta like watch this on my big screen TV because this is something I needed to sit down and like watch properly. And after watching it alone, I can see why they cut it. I can definitely see why they cut it. But at the same time, this is Fantasia 2000. Well, potentially Fantasia 2000. I'm sure the animations would have been beautiful. Like, I would at least be curious to see what the final animation of this would have looked like, because knowing like how they executed like the film in general, like it would have been so beautifully crafted. And I did like that one moment where you see like Ariel and Eric dancing, and then behind them you can see her mermaid form and her like shadow, and then after that you see Belle and the Beast dancing, and then you see the beast form as a shadow. Like I thought that part was really cool, and the stuff they did with Donald and TikTok was pretty funny. As soon as he's laying in the pool and you see like Bambi, which by the way, why didn't they invite Bambi? That seems like a dick move. Like they invite the Dalmatian dogs, but not Bambi. Like what? But anyways, no, overall, like, and I gotta say this, the description, when you mentioned me, when they mentioned about like them being pregnant, thank God they didn't go with that direction. I mean, granted, it's still like like a metaphor, like with the storks and all this. So, like, I thought it's gonna be like so much worse. Like, you actually see them being pregnant, and how were they able to get the kids out? I don't want to question how that, because I could be wrong, but didn't somebody mention, like one of the animators mentioned, like the reason that because it felt more like a cult than anything?
That was one of the explanations, that the whole thing did feel like a cult. And I'm not gonna lie, there is a part of me that does feel like when you do watch this, there is something like culty that is kind of going on with this. Like they try to present it as like a massive ceremony, but then like you look at it and it's like, I don't know, there's just like this vibe that feels a little bit off with what they're doing right here. It's like, especially with the participation of like all the Disney characters, with how this is so coordinated, it's just like, yeah, like it's beautifully displayed, but on the other hand, it's like, am I the only one that finds it weird that like this is so well orchestrated? It's like, it's too well orchestrated in a way.
Which, by the way, bonus points for any references to the band concert short, because that's definitely one of my personal favorite Mickey Mouse shorts.
Oh yeah, same here actually.
Yeah. And also the inclusion of the Three Little Pigs. That's my favorite since. But anyways, but yeah, I'm glad it's not as bad as I thought it was originally meant to be. But for me personally, if I was like in charge of that short, if they have to move forward with it, I'll just make it like a big wedding ceremony where all the princesses and princes all get married at once. You could make that argument like, well, Cinderella and Ariel already got married. That was too sudden. They need like more time to spare, like to get to know each other. So I would make it just one big wedding ceremony. Donald could just be the ring bearer, just have the rings and all that stuff. But hey, what do I know?
But then again, I would argue that technically with your suggestion, what you're doing, like, I know that technically like it was done way after, but what you're describing sounds a little bit like that Tangled short, the Happily Ever After one.
Oh yeah, that short.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. See, I would have been, yeah. But anyways, continue.
No, but I would say that honestly, I'm on the same page as you. It really is fascinating to see this actually coming to life. But at the same time, I am definitely glad they didn't go with this idea, because like as cool as it is to see this kind of Disney mega crossover, it's not a good, it did not look. No, it's just there's something very, like I said, there's something very off about it. Like when you hear the idea of like all the Disney princesses are simultaneously getting married and then they end up having a child, like even though it doesn't seem as bad, and like, you know, like you got the storks instead of the actual pregnancy going on, like it still feels weird. Like one shot I do recall, like it's at the end, like one thing that I remember is yeah, like here's one example where you got Snow White with her baby, but it's specifically the one that stands out for me is like this one. Hold on a sec. It's just, yeah, right over here where you see like Aladdin and Jasmine with their baby, and also Aurora and Philip with theirs. And then you got Donald Duck that's in the middle that honestly really does describe the scenario. Like he's just looking at everything. It's like, what the heck is going on? Are we allowed to do this? Is this what the ceremony is about? Like,
wait, I thought this movie was G-rated, not PG.
Yeah, it's like, wait, what? Like, is this okay? Is this kosher? Are we allowed to do this? You know, that's honestly the feeling that I am getting. And yeah, like even this image we're seeing, like all these princesses having their babies at the same time. It's like, I don't know, like the vibe is just a little too weird. So that is already a reason why we shouldn't have this. But also another reason why, like, yeah, maybe back then, like a few years ago, it would have been great to see this come to life. That I could definitely see this as something like, I wish they could have done something like this. But now I feel like it's unnecessary because we got Once Upon a Studio. Once Upon a Studio has already given to us that mega crossover, and what they've pulled off was amazing. They did that so beautifully well, and especially something that honors like the legacy of Disney animation. In that regards, I don't like at this point, it doesn't feel necessary that we would need something like this going on. Like they already got that covered. Plus they already used a better narrative. So honestly, I'm at the point where like I'm definitely okay with the fact that we have this, and not to mention the entire Fantasia 2 work print. Like that is an amazing find. Like I got to give credit to SoundGuyMatt and the people at Lost Media Busters. They definitely deserve credit for having that discovery. But at the same time, it's like it's best to keep it just like that. You know, to keep it as just as a concept thing, to see what it could have been, and just be thankful that we didn't have that right now, you know? Like, honestly, like, you know, not only do we have Once Upon a Studio, but we also got the current Pomp and Circumstance segment in Fantasia 2000 with the Noah's Ark story with Donald Duck. I'm happy with those, and let's leave it as just that. Just a concept to make Michael Eisner happy, and that ultimately it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm honestly okay with that too, because it would have been intriguing. Like I said, it will be fully animated, and also going back to that work print, I did see the other segment that they released. It's the one about like the dreams and all that stuff. Did you see that one, Matt?
Oh, I heard about. Yeah. I did see that. That was an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool, like how they execute it, but I mean, it's definitely cool and cute and all that stuff, but it's definitely not as memorable as the pregnant princess is.
Yeah, exactly. No, it doesn't stand out from seeing like all the princesses with their child. I mean, like,
they're not them people. Yeah, also, you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I just want to mention, I know a lot of people will bring this up. Yes, we know that Ariel already got their kid with, she already got Melody in The Little Mermaid 2, but even that one feels like, okay, it makes a little bit more sense, because you could say like time has passed, and like when Ariel became of age, that's when she got her kid. Like you could make that argument.
Oh yeah,
this, however,
and also,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and also like that's not really considered Disney animation canon. That's more like that's something separate. I don't count Melody as that being part of the animation canon.
Yeah, if we got to make that canon, then we also have to make canon Ursula's crazy sister.
That too, yeah. Also, missed opportunity. They should have made Belle's baby a puppy.
Yo,
that would be messed up, but that would be so hilarious. Not that they would do that, but come on, that would have been funny.
It kind of reminds me of that joke in the House of Mouse. It's like, maybe you can have some people can have puppies, some people don't.
Yeah, that joke.
Yes. Oh my god,
man.
So yeah, with that said though, now I want to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about the lost segment now being discovered. Did you guys see the short? Or did you guys see the segment? What do you all think of it? And do you think they should have gone through with that idea? Let me know what you all think about it. All right. Honestly, this is certainly a discovery. The fact someone actually discovered the segment from Fantasia 2000 is fascinating. While I do understand why they cut it because of how it feels kind of awkward, it would have been beautifully animated. But again, compared to the princesses being pregnant, it could have been much, much worse. Seriously, it felt like it was only meant to please Michael Eisner. Most likely.
Yeah, our take on the animation is far more worse. So I'm glad it didn't. Yeah, it's so much worse. But I couldn't resist myself.
I mean, we did it in a satirical way, man. I mean,
exactly.
It's not like an official thing. Like us doing it, like showing the Disney princesses pregnant as a joke. That's one thing. If Disney does that officially, that just makes it too weird.
We have so many questions to ask.
Oh, yeah. I'm very glad they scrapped the idea. Seriously, what was Michael Eisner thinking? It's really cool that the Lost media community managed to find one of the lost animatics from Fantasia 2000 to present the world what would have been the original Pomp and Circumstance segment. I'm very happy that the babies were delivered by storks, but I'm glad that we got the Noah's Ark story. That one is more cute and iconic.
All right. Yeah, for sure.
Let's see now. Honest to God, I remembered you said this in the look back. The moment you described this, I thought by itself, it sounds like something you completely made up. I'm not saying you did, but it sounded too crazy to be true, if you know what I mean. Seeing it now, honestly, I think I would have liked it anyway, or I'm happy that we already got. Like, I could say it looked like a precursor to Once Upon a Studio, besides that, just being too weird. But hey, at least we know what it would have been. Exactly.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice curiosity.
Yeah, I think I prefer the princesses not holding babies as if it's their own. There's just something off with that image. It's like, wait. It's like, now let's bring up the age question.
Oh, yeah, that... Oh. Continue. Who's next?
Like I told Eisner, they're under the age of 18.
Oh.
All right. We don't have a lot of comments though, so I'll just read one more.
That's surprising. I thought there'd be like more comments. Like,
well, I mean, we are pretty late in the episode, so I mean, we're near towards the end. As an aspiring Disney historian myself, I'm always happy that this has finally been discovered, that Fantasia 2000 deleted scene and alternate Pomp and Circumstances. It is not pregnant, but delivered by storks, but weird.